Hello and welcome to another review of Junji Ito Maniac, Japanese Tales of the Macabre. This is episode 12, Whispering Woman and Soichi's Beloved Pet. So yeah, this is the final episode of this little series. And unfortunately, you heard that correctly, Soichi's Beloved Pet. So this series decided to end with a Soichi segment. I don't know why. I don't know why you would want to have two Soichi segments in this entire series, but to have your very last episode feature him. At least the episode before it is actually pretty damn good. So the episode before it is Whispering Woman. And in this, we have a weird character named Mayumi. She's the daughter of this wealthy family. Her mom passed away. And I'm assuming because of that, she's had this like mental breakdown. And now she has this disorder where she can't do anything unless given specific instructions. And I mean specific instructions about everything. When to blink her eyes, when to sit, when to stand, when to lay down, what to put on her bread, when to eat. Everything has to be told to her. She has to be instructed to do everything. And if she's not instructed to do anything, she starts freaking out. She starts screaming and crying and yelling. And the wealthy father has hired a bunch of maids in the past to follow Mayumi around and whisper instructions to her, but none of them have been able to last all that long. And eventually, this new woman shows up. Her name is Mitsu. She's this beautiful young woman, and she's like, I want to give it a try. And so she starts helping Mayumi. She tells her, go sit on the bed, take deep breaths, all right, go to sleep. Shows she is able to spend the entire day doing this, and the father is kind of glad. He's like, well, like, I'm surprised you were able to last the entire day. Are you sure you want to keep going? She's like, yeah, I want to keep giving this a shot. And so we just get time skips of Mitsu helping Mayumi, instructing her, getting her to be able to do things that she's never been able to do before, like get outside and walk around the garden, pick flowers and things like that. And the dad's happy at first, but he's also a little bit wary because he's like, I don't know, there's this strange girl who's hanging around my daughter, and she seems way too enthusiastic about this job. So he gets one of his attendant to do a background search on Mitsu. And as he's doing the background search, Mitsu continues her job. And days go past, and eventually Mitsu's health starts deteriorating. She starts looking worse and worse. We have one moment where the dad's like, thank you for helping my daughter today. Why don't you take a break tomorrow? Like, you're looking kind of stressed. Maybe you need some rest. And Mitsu's like, no, like, it's fine. I don't want to stop working. Like, I want to keep helping Mayumi. I love doing this because it allows me to live again as my past self. And the father's like, what the hell does that mean? And he also notices like this weird bruise on Mitsu's face. So he asks her about it. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. And she runs off. So more time passes, and Mayumi continues to improve, and Mitsu's health continues to deteriorate. And the father's like, I think Mitsu is a guardian angel, because not only is Mayumi beginning to recover, but we had a moment where there was this truck that crashed, and it was a fatal accident. It ran off to the sidewalk before it hit a pole, and it ran over some people. The sidewalk that it went over is the exact sidewalk that Mayumi walks through. And it was at the exact time that Mayumi walks through. But for some reason, Mitsu decided to have Mayumi cross the street that day, specifically at that time. And if it wasn't for that, Mayumi would be dead. And the attendant eventually says, I got information on Mitsu's background. And the dad's like, oh, I feel kind of embarrassed asking you to do that. But since you have it, why don't you tell me what it is? And it says that Mitsu is single, but she lives with a very violent and abusive boyfriend named Aga. Aga is basically a freeloader who doesn't work and instead forces Mitsu to go out and collect money that he squanders on himself. And he physically abuses her and stuff. And the reason why Mitsu is here is because Aga saw how much the father was willing to pay to have someone watch over his daughter and forced Mitsu to do it. And the attendant's like, should we do something about this? Like, maybe we should go call the cops or do something to help out Mitsu. And the dad's like, I don't know if we should, because it seems like Mayumi is improving. And if things improve at Mitsu's house, like if we're able to get rid of Aga, then maybe Mitsu will no longer need the job and she won't help Mayumi anymore. And Mayumi will relapse and fall back into being what she once was. So he decides to not do anything about it. And eventually they discover that Mitsu has died. She was beaten to death by her boyfriend, and her boyfriend has ran off, and the cops are searching for him. And we see Mayumi, and she's by herself, but she's acting as if Mitsu's still there, whispering into her. And we hear like whispering going around her, but we don't actually hear what the words are. And we see her in the garden, and she's stabbing at the ground, and she's digging. But her digs look like just stabs. And then eventually we cut to Mayumi stabbing Aga to death over and over and over again. And then she arrives back home, and her dad sees her covered in blood and asks her what happened, like, why are you covered in blood? And Mayumi tells him that I just did what Mitsu taught me to do. I killed Aga, I stabbed him to death, just like Mitsu taught me. And that's how it ends. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I will say that it's a little bit different in it's pretty much almost one for one when it comes to the manga. There is one thing that's a little bit different that I kind of wish the anime had done it, just because it's a little bit creepy. After Mitsu dies, the father goes to tell Mayame, like, hey, Mitsu's gone. She's not going to be able to help anymore, unfortunately. And Mayumi's like, what are you talking about? Mitsu's right here. She's whispering to me right now. And he's like, oh, she giggles and she's like, oh, that tickles. Because sometimes Mitsu's whispers would tickle her ears. And the father sees that there's no one there, but we still hear like the whispering. And I was like, oh, that's such a creepy, cool little imagery, but we didn't get that. But yeah, other than that little moment, it's pretty much faithful to the actual one shot. And I really enjoyed it. This is like a really good one shot. I liked it. So to see it being adapted was good. And like I said, minus that one little moment, it was faithfully adapted. So that's great too. Anytime I see anything just faithfully adapted, like I already give it some points, because it's very hard to like just look at anything, especially anything coming out from the West, any Western adaptation of anything, be it a Western adaptation of anime or manga or comic books or books in general, like TV shows. They always butcher the hell out of it, put in their own messages and stuff. So to see like an actual faithful adaptation is always great. And yeah, this was awesome. I loved it. The visuals could be better. It's just something that I've kind of had to deal with when it came to this series. I just kind of had to tell myself, I doubt this series had like a really good budget, because it doesn't seem like it in terms of the visual quality. So if you can just put that aside, you got some good stuff here. But there you go. There's Whispering Woman. And then we get the final segment of this series, Soichi's beloved pet. Ah, damn it. I hate the Soichi character. I can't stand that character. And I know he's not supposed to be very likable, but I find him annoying. And I know that's like the character he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be like this annoying prankster, trickster with a like horrifying, way of doing things, like a horrifying, like dark comedy in a sense. But I don't find him interesting. I find him so annoying that it actually puts me off of the stories. I've read like maybe 2 or 3. Soichi's beloved pet, obviously, and then the Four Walls, and one where the grandma shows up. Other than that, like it's terrible. I hate it. Like anytime Soichi pops up in a Junji Ito collection, I usually just tend to skip past it. So to end this series with the Soichi story, it's like, damn it. But this one is basically Soichi's sister Sayuri is heading home from school, and she finds this cute little stray cat, and she decides to name it Korin. I believe in the chapter itself it's Colin. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to refer to it as Colin though. But in here it's called Korin. She takes the cat home with her, and everyone falls in love with it except for Soichi. And so they all decide to adopt it. And one day the cat's like pitter-pattering down the hallway, and Soichi sees it. He decides to torment this poor cat. So he tries to scare it, The cat tries to walk, get away because it's scared. And Soichi tries to like crawl after it and chase it when the cat turns around and farts in his face. And so Soichi decides to get payback, and he grabs a noose, throws it around the cat's neck, and starts dragging this poor thing around the house. Yeah, Soichi's just a messed up piece of garbage. Anyways, Sayuri sees this and gets pissed off, and she slaps Sayuchi in the face. Slaps him so hard she knocks him down next to the cat, and the cat scratches his face. And then we cut to the mom putting disinfectant swabs on Soichi's face, and the brother and sister are saying that Soichi deserved it. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why would you do this to a poor animal? And the brother's like, it's a well-known fact that people who commit violent acts on cats eventually grow up to commit violent acts on people. There's something wrong with him. If he were an adult right now, he did something that's stupid, he would ruin our family name. He's gonna end up behind bars, and our family's gonna be ruined. Someone who can't love animals is a good for nothing who can't love humans. Soichi starts getting pissed off, and he starts saying that he's gonna put a curse on the cat. And eventually the cat, there's like an electric shock, and it shocks Sayuri. And she's like, oh, it just shocked me. And the brother's like, oh, that must have been like static electricity. I was shocked a little bit too. So Yuchui's like laughing to himself. She's like, they thought it was static electricity, but it was actually my curse manifesting. Then we just get montages of Soichi just doing terrible things. He gets this dead snake, and he hangs it on a stick, and he dangles it in front of the cat, causing the cat to grab it and eat it. The cat eventually starts digging under the house and grabbing giant centipedes and bringing them into the house. The cat at one point grabs this monstrous looking insect that looks like a spider with a bunch of eyes. It's just creepy, grotesque thing. And Soichi's super excited about it. He believes that Colin has brought this thing from hell. And he's like, next time you go to hell, make sure you bring me a live insect. In the anime, the cat's name is Korin, and Soichi calls him Gorin instead. I don't know if Gorin is supposed to mean anything. I don't know why they changed the name of the cat. In the manga, the cat's name is Colin, and Soichi calls it Colin as an insult. So that's why, I'm just going to refer to her as Colin. But eventually, Soichi starts actually enjoying this cat because this cat just becomes more and more messed up. Like, its appearance goes from cute to just ugly and vicious. It starts scratching up the house walls. It leaves a bunch of hair everywhere. It gets to the point where the family is forced to close and bar all the doors and windows so the cat won't get out and bring back any more abominations. Eventually they start realizing that it smells really terrible, and they think it might be from the litter box. So they're like, all right, where's the cat? And they go into Soichi's room where the cat's sitting on Soichi's lap, and it's basically monstrous at this point. And of course, everyone, the brother and sister are upset that Soichi has turned this cute cat into this vicious monster. And Sayuri just runs out of the room, and the brother goes to grab the cat when all of a sudden there's this large burst of electricity and electrocutes Soichi. And the brother's like, all right, we got to get the hell out of here. So the brother, the sister, the mom and dad rush out of the room, run out of the house, leaving Soichi behind as the cat bites him and causes this huge electric burst that can be seen from miles away. And then we cut to the hospital, where the cat is back to normal. It's back to its cute, adorable self. And Soichi is wrapped up in bandages, and he is just laying seriously injured on the hospital bed, pissed off and cursing everybody. And that's how it ends. So, yeah, Soichi gets his comeuppance, like he usually always does. But he's still just such an annoying little shit. And not in a fun, interesting way. I just absolutely can't stand this character or any stories with him. And to just end this series with that, I don't know. That was kind of a shame. The first one was good, though. I absolutely love the Whispering Woman. But there you go. There is the final episode of Junji Ito Maniac, Japanese Tales of the Macabre. I think I might do one more episode where I will just give my final thoughts on the series overall, as well as some short stories that I recommend you check out. Short stories that didn't get adapted and that I think you might really enjoy. Stories that I kind of wish were adapted instead of some of these other more weaker entries into this series. But yeah, there you go. Final episode. I loved the first part, hated the second part. So yeah, like I said, one more video to go, and it'll just be like just a wrap up. But hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later.